Welcome back. In this business finance lecture, we'll go over study problem 7-2 in page 246 from the 8th edition of our textbook. Here's a view of the problem. I would like to go ahead and highlight some important facts about our problem. First of all, we need to recognize the financial instrument involved in the problem, and in this case it's a bond instrument. And we are told that the bond is expected to mature in 7 years and make 4% coupon payments from the face value, and those coupon payments will be made semi-annually. So let me just briefly go ahead and explain what's going on in this part of the problem. So because the interest rate is expected to be 4% of the face value, we go ahead and calculate the interest, or you might call it the coupon on the bond. So the face value is $1,000 for 4%. So the $1,000 is the face value. Let me make note of here. The 4% is the interest rate on the coupon, and because it is semi-annual, we'll have to divide it by 2. And making the calculation, we realize semi-annually the bond will pay its investor $20 every 6 months. Now, the second part of the question provides us with the required rate of return of a potential investor, and then we are supposed to figure out how much that investor will value this bond given his risk assessment of the bond, and in this case it is 5%. And so what we do is we use the third line of our financial calculator, and we basically will need to make use of N, I over Y, PV, payment, FV keys from our financial calculator. And let's begin. So we are told the bond is a 7-year bond, and because the coupons are paid semi-annually, the interest accrues semi-annually, so we would have to multiply it by 2, and as a result we realize there will be 14 periods. Now the annual interest is 5%, or you might say the required rate of return is 5%, but because interest again is paid semi-annually, for this one we will have to divide by 2, and we would get 2.5%. Notice that I did not add the percent sign, meaning that when you enter this number into your calculator, you just leave it as 2.5, not 0.025. And so that interest rate is basically, or that required rate of return is the return for each of these 14 periods. The question is obviously the value of the bond, so we left this one blank, the present value blank. The payments, we just calculated it to be $20, so we just plugged that in, and the face value of the bond is $1,000. Because we are on the receiving end, I did an input the payments and the future value as positives. So when you make now ultimately the calculation on your financial calculator and you compute the present value, you will realize that it will come out as a negative figure on your calculator. So you will see a negative sign in the front, meaning that the investor will have to make a payment of $941.55. Now comparing this number with $1,000 of the face value, we realize that this is a discount bond because it's cheaper, and so the 5% required rate of return from the investor makes the price of the bond relatively cheaper compared to the face value, because the 5% required rate of return is more than the interest payment of the bond.